We still need to create a summary and a details page. And this is going to involve retrieving data from the database. So we are going to be modifying our views.py file. And what we need to do is import the model. Then we need to retrieve the data and store it in a variable. We add the variable to a context dictionary object. And that object gets passed to the template using a render function. Okay. And in our context dictionary, what we specify for the key is the name that we have to use in our template to access the data. So here is a little example. We are going to be importing topic. I believe we already are in our view. So we are going to basically indicate that we want all of the topics retrieved. When we were practicing commands, retrieval commands using the shell, we did topic.objects.all. So this is that same command, but we are sorting. So we're using order by, and we're sorting it by the date that the topic was added. Okay, and then all that data goes in here. And this is where that data is in our context dictionary object. And we're giving it a key of topics. So this is the key, this is the data, and then this is the statement that's passing it to the template. So we got the server request, this is the template that it's going to, and this is the data. If you wanted to only retrieve one row, okay, then, or one topic in this case, then you need an ID passed. So the user could key the ID in. They could key it on the address bar, or if you're looking at a summary screen and you select a specific topic, the summary screen can pass it along. So there's two different ways you can get the ID. As long as you have the ID, then you can use topic.objects.get with the ID. You guys saw this when we did the shell, but we set the ID equal to 1. Okay, here, this is a variable, and it is containing whatever ID that we want to look at. So this ID is the one that's in our database. This ID is the one we want to look up. Okay, and then the data that gets retrieved is stored here. And again, we're putting it into a dictionary object and we're passing that along to the template. What if we want to display a topic and all of the related entries? We can do that. Okay, it's still kind of the same, right? We've got the request and the topic ID. We still want to retrieve the specific topic. But to get the related entries, all we have to do is take our topic variable or object and call entry.set. Now, we're including order by here so that we can sort it, but you would not have to do order by. And when we were practicing commands in the shell, we did not use order by. Okay, so refer to that section where we were practicing commands to see different ways of retrieving. Then you would set up your context so that you would have topic and you'd also have entries. So this entries here is the value. This one in single quotes is your key. And then you pass all that along to the template. So we have two parts here. We are going to first create a topic page, and then we're going to do the topic and entries page. So the topics page is like a summary page. The topic and entries page is going to be our detail page. So we do need to go into learning logs, URLs, and add a path to our topics view. And this is on page 401. So we're in learning logs, URLs, and on page 401, I need to add a path. So I've got the path to my home page. And so below that, I need a path to the page that shows all topics. Path. Now, if they key in topics on the address bar, so they key in localhost, or we key in localhost :8000/topics, it should take us to this page. Okay, so that's what we key in. Where it's going to route to is views.topics. This is in the views py file. And the name we're associating with this is topics. And let's put a little comma in at the end. All right, so we added this. Let's save it. And let's go over to views. So this is views, which is in learning logs. So we've got our index function. Now we need to add one for topics. So this is also on page 401. Now, before I key this in, I'm going to go ahead and do my import because that is something, a bad habit I have of forgetting. So I'm going to go up to from. I want it to come from the models that are in this directory. So it's .models. Import topic. Okay, now let's come down here. Show all topics. Oops. 1, 2, 3. And my topics object here is going to store the data that I retrieve from the database. And if you remember, date added is a column in the database. So basically, it's going to retrieve all of the rows and sort it by date added. Context dictionary that I'm going to pass to the template has a key of topics. And the data being passed is stored in topics. And now I need to return the data using that render function where I'm passing the request, routing here to learning logs /topics.html, and I'm passing along the context dictionary. Let me save all of this. All right, so my next step is to create my topics template. So this is going to go with my other HTML files. And I'm going to do a new file. I'm going to save it. Needs to go under templates and learning logs, and it is called topics. Spell it right. And I need to enter what is on page 402. So I'm going to pause a minute. So here's my topics. I'm extending from Learning Logs base. For the block content, starts here, ends here. This is what I want inserted. So I've got topics. Then I've got this little for in loop where it's going to retrieve the topic and display it. And you'll notice that it's displaying a link. Okay, and it's actually grabbing the topic that is in that context dictionary, and it's displaying the actual text from the topic. If there was nothing in the for in loop, if it was empty, then it's just going to display no topics added yet. Okay, so here's the beginning of the for and end of the for, beginning of the for. That is how you code it up here as a template in Django. So we've got topics coded. And let's see, now that we have topics, we can edit our base. And we can add another link to this because we've got a link basically to the home page, but we'd also like a link to our topics page. And so this should be on page 402, I think. Or actually, it's on page 403. So I'm going to copy this one. You have to be super careful copying and pasting because if you forget to change something that's important, it won't work. This is not the important text, but I'm going to go ahead and change this because this is the link that displays to people. But the important part is in here. And I want it to go to topics. All right, so that's all I should have to change. I'm going to save it. And I should be able to now display both those pages. So let's see if it works. All right, so I have learning log and I've got topics. All right, this is so much fun. So topic is not a valid pattern. So there is a problem. I have a typo somewhere. Topic is not a valid view. So it should be called topics. So I may have misspelled something somewhere. So let me backtrack. Now, another place you can find out more information is over here. This is the running app. Topic not found, topic. So it looks like I did topic somewhere instead of topics with an S. So I got the S there. Wouldn't be here. Topics is here. And let me pause while I track this down. I see what the problem is. I jumped ahead. Bad teacher. I need to change this. We can't do a link yet. There. Now it will work. Okay, so let's try it again. Let me refresh. There we go. And I really don't like how that looks, but we kind of have to live with it until we get into formatting. There is one little adjustment you could make. This will not break your application by any means. But in between these, you can add ampersand and BSP, which is and BSP, which is a space, and then a bar. Let me save this. And if we reload, that looks a little bit better. Okay. But now I've got all of this working. All right, so part 1 accomplished. Moving on to part 2. So first thing we need to do is add the path to our topic view. Now, this detail page, our summary page is called topics with an S. The detail page is called topic with no S. Okay, so we're going to start by adding the URL. So this is on page 404. And where is it? URLs there. So we're going to add another one. And so we have a path already for topics. And I'm going to put a little comment in here. So this is what they have to enter to get to the detail page. They have to enter topics, a slash, and an integer. And it's going to be an ID. Okay, so this is basically going to identify what row to retrieve. It's the primary key. Okay, then if that is what it gets entered, we're going to route them to views.topic with no S. We have to create it still. And we are associating a name of topic with it. So let's save. So we added it to the URLs. Now we're going to add the function to views. And because we're retrieving related records, you don't really have to include another model at this point. Okay, so because in our URL, we said that it was going to be receiving the ID, we have to put it in our parameter list here. So now, instead of retrieving everything, we are just going to retrieve one. based on the ID that we get passed. And we want to grab all of the related entries in our entry table. So this command is going to do that for us. Now, we're also telling it to sort them. And we want it in descending order, so we're going to put a minus in front of date added. Now we're going to set up our little context dictionary. And the first key is topic. And the value is topic. Second key is entries. And the value is entries. And now we're going to do our return statement using our render function, passing the request, routing to our topic template. This is not plural. It's a new one that we are going to create called topic, not topics. And we're passing the context dictionary. Crossing fingers that I did not do a typo. But you guys already saw what that looks like. So let's see. Now we're going to do our topic. So I'm going to do a new file, saving it under templates, learning logs, and I'm going to call it topic.html. And I'm going to pause. I'm not going to work ahead, and I'm going to key in the right thing. I will be back in a minute. All right, so I've got this coded up, and you can see we're extending learning logs base. I've got my block content set up here. I've got the topic. And if you guys want to do a header here, that's fine. I think all these paragraphs are boring. Then we've got our entries, got a little for in loop where it's displaying the date and the text. It is formatting the date. This is really easy to mess up. If you key in the wrong thing here, you will get the lovely error, error screen instead of the page. And it's going to do each one of these on a line. And then if there's nothing there, it's just going to say no entries. So I'm going to save. And now we can go over to topics, which is our summary. We can add the link because we actually have a topic page. So if you don't have a topic page and you put in a link, it's going to give you an error. So now that we have this topic page, we can add the link. Now, take note here that it is passing the topic ID to, it's basically going to be passing the topic ID to the view. And then the view is going to go into topic with that ID and route to the detail page. All right, so let me make sure I keyed this in correctly. Okay, so I need a double quote, angle bracket, This needs to go after my topic. And that looks right. So what this link is going to do is it is going to go into the view because the view handles all navigation, and it's going to run the topic function, okay? Not topics, but topic, okay? And that topic function is expecting an ID. So we have the ID here. So when it runs through here, it's going to come into this function, and this variable is going to be storing the ID. That way it can, ooh, good thing I came in here. That way it can grab all of the entries for the topic and send it along to topic.html, which is our detail. Okay, so this is our summary screen. If you click the link for the topic, it comes through here and routes over to our detail screen. So let's save all of this. Okay. And that actually looks right. I do not know why it's flagging. Unless I have a typo that I can't. Oh, I forgot the single quotes. Say smart program. All right, let me save this. Lots to double check here, guys. I am sure you will all get the lovely full screen error that you saw earlier at one point or another. It does try to help you. Okay, so double check your quotes. Lots to get wrong. All right. So at this point, I believe I am ready. I have registered the URL. I've coded up the views for both of those pages. I've got topic. I've got topics. I think it's ready. So let's try it. Fingers crossed. Let's reload. All right, they're displaying us links. That's always a good sign. And it's working. Yay. All right, let's go back. And that is exactly how it should work. So what do you need to turn in? I need several screenshots. So I need a screenshot of this. I need a screenshot of this. And I'd also like a screenshot of this. And that way I know that you went through all of the steps in the project and everything is complete.